Welcome back to Ironsworn, Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is episode 20. The GMing principle I want to mention today is whenever possible, try to end your games on a cliffhanger. I like to end when we roll initiative for a big battle. The best thing I can think of is for my players to say, I'm scared, and to be thinking about that until the game can come around the next week. So whenever possible, try to end your games on a cliffhanger when there's something uncertain that the players are going to be facing. It's probably possible to overuse this trope, so if you do it every single time, it might get a little bit burned out. But I think probably most GMs underuse it. So whenever possible, end on a cliffhanger, leave them wanting more at the end of a session. Last time we saw Karl and Half heading from Goodmead to Dugan's Hole. They believe that Sephek Kaltro has kidnapped Brigid and taken her to Dugan's Hole. En route, they got waylaid by a couple of wolves, which they followed into a blizzard. Finally, they ended up at a frost giant's lodge that has been abandoned. They managed to find a couple of captives there. Unfortunately, Brigid was not among them, but they freed those two children, and they managed to sneak out and get away and have gotten to Dugan's Hole. There, they made some friends and made a connection who told them that Torg's caravan was in town and that Sephek Kaltro had been muttering about finally being able to commit his deeds to the Frostmaiden. Karl and Half have crossed the tiny little town and have gone to the Stones of Thrun, which is an old circle of standing stones where they spot Sephek Kaltro with a bunch of victims that he intends to sacrifice to the Frostmaiden. Karl, not in great shape, fairly injured, his spirit's low, momentum is also not good, but he felt that he had to go and pursue this lead as quickly as possible. As he closes on the circle of stones, he sees Sephek Kaltro has a dagger made of ice in his hand, and he is about to sacrifice his first victim, which is Karl's sister Brigid. As Karl and Half cross the town, Karl is going to try to quickly adapt one of his arrows. He knows what he's after. He's after Sephek Kaltro. This guy is apparently immune to the cold, so he's going to modify one of his arrows, maybe using a wooden arrowhead instead of a steel one that would be able to penetrate any kind of protection that Sephek has against the cold. On a weak hit, he'll take the option where his arrow does an additional 1d6. As Karl and Half approach, he draws out that arrow, knocks it, and says, Sephek Kaltro! Sephek looks up in surprise. Torg's caravan is a bit out of the way, so it's not like right there. Karl says, we're here for you, Sephek. And we're not going to take you in. We're here to take you down. And he draws his arrow back and let's fly. Enter the fray. Unfortunately, that is a miss on Enter the Fray. Let's see what happens. It forces you to act against your own best interests. I think that Sephek puts the dagger against Brigid's throat and says, drop your weapons. Karl has this arrow ready. It's ready to fly, but he doesn't want any harm to come to his sister. He reluctantly releases the tension from his bow and goes to put his bow down. He looks over his shoulder at Half, and Half is also kind of putting his weapon down, but I think that they're going to try to face danger here with Shadow to see if they can have Half maybe distract Sephek. Nope, that didn't work at all. Your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. I think that Sephek fully stabs Brigid in the chest. Blood starts pouring out of her. Karl yells, no! He's going to go ahead and grab his arrow and let fly. They do not have the initiative, so this is going to be a clash. Amazing strong hit on a clash. We are going to inflict our harm. We're going to add a 1d6 harm. Let's roll it. That's 5 additional harm from our specially made arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that's nice. You know what? I'm going to take the opportunity to find an opening, inflict +1 harm. And we got a strong hit. We have initiative now. I'm going to go ahead and try to end this fight with this single arrow to Sephek Kaltro's throat, because I've got to get to Brigid and see if I can help her. On a weak hit on End the Fight, we manage to nail him right in the throat. He burbles, takes a step forward. Karl rushes towards Brigid. I think that this is going to cost him some momentum, but he makes it to her side and he is desperately going to try to heal her. Before we can do that, we have got to try to secure an advantage. So he is yelling at Half to come over and give him a hand and help staunch the blood. This is going to be secure an advantage. A weak hit gives a little bit of momentum. Okay, let's see if he can heal. Okay, a weak hit, I'll take it. So he is able to staunch the immediate bleeding from Bridget and at least get the horrible arterial hemorrhage under control and get to a point where she's at least stable. So he basically removes her wounded condition. Amazing. Super fast fight. Killed Sephek Kaltro. This is going to check all kinds of boxes. Obviously, on our progress chart to kill Sephek Kaltro, we're also going to mark progress on finding his sister. And we're going to roll to complete these quests. Okay, on a weak hit to complete his quest to kill Sephek Kaltro, I think that he realizes, as Sephek is slowly dying here, that the children of Arl are a problem. Sephek is just one arm of this organization. He knows about the Frost Druid, and the Frost Druid also committed to this cause. He understands that the Frost Druid is also a threat. He is going to swear an iron vow to track down and bring Ravison to justice. We're going to mark that quest as complete. We are going to mark experience. That was a dangerous quest. We only got a 1 weak hit, so that's only 1 experience. Now we are going to roll to complete the quest to find his sister. That is a strong hit on an extreme quest. Love it. That is 4 experience. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we mark this quest that we started off, chapter 1, as complete. We're going to add a new quest. Bring Ravison to justice. This probably is going to be killing her, but I want to leave it a little bit flexible. One of the comments on one of the games was to make the iron vows a little more flexible, and I agree that's a good call. We're going to call this a formidable quest. Let's swear our vow. On a weak hit, you have more questions than answers. Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea where Ravison is, but we'll take the momentum and worry about that some other time. Karl and Half look at all these other prisoners. Karl tells Half, release them. He kneels down by Bridget, wipes the bloody hair out of her face, and her eyes flicker open. He smiles at her, and she reaches up and gives him just a tremendous hug. She starts sobbing. He starts crying. He's been all over 10 towns trying to find Bridget, and finally he's managed to find her and rescue her. He and Bridget are crying as they're hugging. Karl says, what were you doing? What's been happening? And Bridget just kind of stops and says, Karl, oh, it's been so terrible. But Karl, I found out where our dad is. And we will call it there. And next time we will see what Bridget has to say and head out further into the tundra. That's the end of chapter 1, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. We have completed all of the adventures in chapter 1. We visited all of the towns, which is ostensibly the goal of those adventures. Karl has learned a lot about himself and grown. He's found his friend Half. Now he's gotten his sister Bridget back. They managed to save Half-sister Tessa. They've helped a bunch of people along the way. Our next episode is going to be a debrief of chapter 1. What did we learn? And how are we going to progress to chapter 2? I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.